Hey guys, welcome back here to Leo's Fried Potatoes, where I have the first official episode of Magic Mondays. A little late, so I do apologize for that. But briefly, Magic Mondays is going to be me opening up this Forge app and talking about different decks that I've made, or I'll make a deck for the video. So yeah, the deck that I want to go over with today, though, is a deck that's called Tokens, which is the whole purpose is making tokens, and copying token doublers to just stack a lot of tokens. So let's take a look. To start off, I have Master of Ethereum, which is an artifact creature. It's a Vidalcan wizard. Creature type doesn't matter for my deck, but of course it can always matter for what you go up against. It's 2 generic and 1 blue to cast for a creature that has power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts you control. And then other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1, which is what it's in there for. It's a cheap, meaty beef stick that will give everything +1/+1. So when I animate everything, it'll keep my lands alive, which is what the whole purpose is animating everything. So that way I can copy creature tokens, but I have to animate the token doublers so that way I can copy them. And the next thing here is Rite of Replication. For 2 and 2 blue. It's a sorcery with an optional kicker of 5 generic. So if you pay the kicker, it ends up being 7 generic and 2 blue. You put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature. If it was kicked, you put 5 of those tokens instead, which is pretty snazzy. Because when you've got a bunch of token doublers, that could add up to be more than just 5 per right. But the main mana base is 4 Mox Emeralds, which are 0 cost artifacts, and they tap for 1 green. So obviously that's not going to count against your land count, so you could play a bunch of Moxes and a land on turn 1. The next thing is 4 Mox Pearls, the same thing as, but taps for white. Then we have 4 Mox Sapphires, which, if you remember from the last video, it's a 0 cost artifact, taps for 1 blue, which is snazzy. Then, we have 3 Mixes Lattices, which are 6 generic to cast cost artifacts. And so the main ability that I look for this is all permanents or artifacts in addition to the other types, because then now that everything's an artifact, I'll use another card I'll show you later to animate all the artifacts. And then all spells that aren't on the battlefield, all cards that aren't on the battlefield, spells and permanents are colorless. So if an opponent has something whenever they cast a red spell or whenever they cast a white spell, that no longer happens. But and then players may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. So Sapphire taps out a blue, I can then spend that blue as a green or a white. And then I think I have one more in the sideboard. But then next is Planar Bridge, another 6 generic costs, but it's a legendary artifact, meaning you can only have 1 on the field at a time. And its ability is 8 generic mana. Tap it. Search your library for a permanent card, put onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library, which is all fun. And so now that we got all those, we have the enchantments, which most of them are these token doublers here. So Anointed Procession is a 3 generic and 1 white to cast, and it only doubles tokens that enter the battlefield under your control. That's what that does. So every 1 artifact, every 1 token that enters your battlefield and you get twice. Two for each one. And then doubling season is 4 and 1 green to cast. And if an effect were to create one or more tokens under your control, it creates twice, so it's token doubler. And then it's also a counter doubler. So +1/+1 counters, boom, you get 2. Or if an enemy puts a -1/-1 counter on your creatures, it gets twice that for each one. So that's a potential downside to this. And we have 4 of each of those. Then I have in the main deck 3 Enchanted Evenings, which are 3 generic, 1 white or 1 blue, and then another white or blue to cast. And it's an enchantment that all permanents are enchantments in addition to their other types. So all lands, all artifacts, all creatures are now also enchantments. But I'll be right back. And so just a little recap. Enchanted Evening, 3 and 1 white or 1 blue to cast, with another 1 white or 1 blue for a total of 5 converted mana cost. All permanents are enchantments in addition to the other types, which is fun. Makes the lands all enchantments. And March of the Machines is the one I was talking about earlier to combo with Mycosynth Lattice. For 3 generic and 1 blue. Each non-creature artifact is an artifact creature with power and toughness, each equal to its converted mana cost, which means all my lands would be 0/0s, which is why Master of Ethereum comes into play with that +1/+1 to all artifact creatures. And then next is Opalescence, which is 2 and 2 white to cast. Each other non-aura enchantment is a creature with power and toughness each equal to the converted mana cost, and it's still an enchantment, which that, unless I had Mycosynth Lattice out, all of those lands would die at that point, assuming I had Enchanted Evening out. So got 3 of those. And now back to more token doublers. For Parallel Lives is 3 and a green, and it doubles tokens put into play under your control. And then we have Primal Vigor, which is like Doubling Season, but for everyone. So it's 1 converted mana cost less. It's 4 and 1 green. And so if 1 or more tokens we put onto the battlefield, period, twice that many tokens are put onto the battlefield instead. 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be placed on a creature. Twice that many +1/+1 counters are placed on that creature instead. So that is the one benefit over Doubling Season, is because that also means if someone tries to put -1/-1 counters on your stuff, Primal Vigor doesn't amplify that, which is nice. Got 4 of those. And then next in the main deck, I have 3 Starfield of Nyx, which is 4 and 1 white to cast. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target enchantment card from your grave to your battlefield. And then as long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment is a creature in addition to its other types, and has base power and toughness each equal to its converted mana cost. So it's all about animating those token doublers, which therefore is its own win condition because they'll each be 5/5s or 6/6s, a couple 4/4s. And then copying them whenever I can. Now let's look at the little sideboard here, which basically it's just gives me a playset of what I already have. So adds 1 more Mycosynth Lattice, adds 3 more Planar Bridge, one more Enchanted Evening, a March of the Machines, another 2, one more Opalescence, one more Starfield of Nyx, and then to get into land, which apparently I just skipped over in the main deck. So I have 2 Gaia's Cradle, which is a legendary land. Taps to add 1 green to my mana pool for each creature I control. So I have 2 of those in the main deck, 2 in the side deck. And then I have Sarah's Sanctum. Same deal, a legendary land. Taps to add 1 white for each enchantment I control. And then I have 3 Tolarian Academies in the main deck, which, as you remember from the last video, taps to add 1 blue to my mana pool for each artifact I control. And they all originated from the same set, hence why they have a similar ability. But so post in the comments, tell me what you think of this deck. If you liked it, drop a like. Then do subscribe if you want to stay up to date of all my videos. And if you want to see more of these deck lists and everything, do tune in every Monday, hopefully around 3:30 Pacific time. And what else? Ring that little bell down there to stay up to date to each and every video, including when I post more of Little Archie. But for now, this is Leo. Over and out. Peace until the next video.